All righty. Okay, so quickly picking up where we left off yesterday, I wanted to show you this here. Here's an example with an interface where we're implementing multiple interfaces. And you can do that in a class. The only thing you have to do is separate the interfaces by a comma. In fact, we're going to do this with our die class. We're going to do this. We've already implemented one interface, correct? Yep. The interface was called Kim. I'm going to jump to my camera. So I'm going to jump out, jump to my camera. I'll make this bigger. Okay, so right now you have a header that says public class die implements Kim. Today, what you're going to do is you worked on coding up the comparable interface, the changes you would need to make to code the comparable interface for the die class. So we need to change this method header, and so based on what we just learned, we'll put comma comparable. So comparable is the name of the interface. Since the comparable interface contains just one method with the method header public int compare to object, obj, that means inside the die class, I will now see that you've coded a method header that looks exactly the same. And now you're going to provide me the details. So you're going to tell me what it means for two objects to be equal, less than, or greater than the other. And you must use the equals method. Must use your equals method in your class. Okay, so this is a little bit of a review. So I'm jumping out. And I'm going to go back to my slideshow. And I'm going to come right here. So that should cover this slide. Moving on. Now, I discussed this yesterday. The Java Standard Library class library contains many helpful interfaces. So the comparable one is the one that's most important for you right now. It contains the abstract method compared to, which I've walked through with you and discussed. The string class also implements the comparable interface, giving us the ability to put strings in lexicographic order. What does lexicographic mean? Alphabetical. It means alphabetical order. And that's all based on something called the Unicode character set. And that is something that we've looked at before. And I'm going to take a minute to jump out and just to remind you, if I can find it quickly, and I bet I can. So here again is a snapshot of, I'm going to sneeze, the Unicode character set. I'm going to sneeze and we're going to get it on video. Okay, so in terms of alphabetical ordering of things, it uses this Unicode character set to determine an ordering. So for example, there's a difference between alphabetizing apple with a capital A and apple with a lowercase a. The A, capital A, has a numeric value of 65. The lowercase a has a numeric value of 97. If these were stored in objects, let's say this was string S1 and this one was string S2, and I were to call the compare to method for a string. So if I said S1 dot compare to S2, what Java would return back to you is what kind of number? A positive or a negative or a 0? I would suggest it would return a positive because this number is bigger than this number. Does that make sense? All right. That is your little lesson in that. Turn this down. Go back to that. I'm still recording. Okay. Now, you'll see some other things on this slide that you're not familiar with yet, like list. List interface is something we'll look at, but not until we get to arrays, because we're going to learn about a class called ArrayList. Although, if I were to take a look at one of your resource documents, I would notice that at the bottom, I have some information about a interface called in the list class. So list is actually that's not, I didn't say that right, an interface called list. So when we use an array list that comes at the end of chapter 6, the array list implements the list interface. And the last thing on this slide says the iterator interface contains methods that allow the user to move easily through a collection of objects. This is something that we may use later, and I think at some point I'm speculating that maybe the string tokenizer implements this interface, but we'll have to go back later and see if that's true. Okay, I'm going to jump out. I'm going to end this video and start a new one because I'm going to run out of time here in a second.